name is Diane Ferguson, and I have been fostering 3 years since 2020.
My name is Renee Miller, and I've been fostering for 1 year.
I'm Brenda Johnson, and I've been fostering for A Hope for about 4 years.
My name is Sean Sullivan, and I've been fostering for A Hope for a year now.
Initially, I began fostering during COVID because I wanted some life around me. And instead of adopting all the animals, fostering seemed like a better option.
In the beginning, I thought it would just be fun. And then I learned how much work it is, but it's still fun, and there's so much need for it.
I began fostering last year after we lost our beloved kitty and weren't quite ready to make another permanent attachment, and a friend recommended fostering, and we just loved bringing animals into our home again and being able to love on them and see them go to homes in the end.
The age range where I foster animals, I just foster kittens for the most part, specifically neonatal, under 8 weeks old. But I have taken care of some moms with babies that were about a year and a half old, and I've fostered 2 6-month-old kittens, but the majority has been under 8 weeks old. The main duties of me fostering kittens, just making sure that if I'm given medicine, that I'm going to be taking care of them, especially if they're crunchy muffins, they are not latching on well, and making sure they're just taken care of. But also, I have to make sure that they're fed, especially if they're under 2 weeks old. Be feeding them every 2 to 3 hours right there, even overnight. But just kind of keeping it in check and watching their weights before and after, checking like how much they're even eating in the first place.
I foster animals from about 2 weeks old to 8 weeks old. So I really enjoy the bottle babies. It's not as much sleep, but when they see you, you're like their whole world. They're so excited to see you. I like bigger kittens too. My daughter's allergic, so we tend to stay with the smaller ones. So some of the main duties for fostering my age range are really being able to make the schedule to get up and to feed the kittens, at increments during the day. So it's a very scheduled type of fostering. It also requires a lot of awareness of medical issues and any little changes in their behavior that you might need to be aware of.
I usually do 4 weeks and up. I don't do bottle babies often because I like to sleep. And it's a little bit easier when they're older. I also have a lot of room to foster in, so I tend to get the older, bigger groups of kittens. My main duties for fostering this age group it's socializing is the big thing, getting them used to people, other animals. We do a lot of cleaning and feeding. Sometimes you have to do medicines, but not too often. And then taking them to their checkups and getting them ready for adoption.
We have fostered from the age of 1 week old and had the mom along with a whole litter, and up until they're ready to be adopted, and really enjoy all the phases. I've never done the bottle babies or the gruel stages of the younger ones, so really around 5 weeks is our prime time, and they're playful and running around and really interactive. So my age range, being the older ones, a lot of times they're caught or brought in and they need socialization. So that's the biggest goal. Usually when they come in, they're scared and they're hiding, and our job as my family, I've got 2 teenagers that help as well, is playing with them and getting them used to human interaction and realizing that humans are pretty cool and they feed me and they love me and play with me. So that's getting them ready to be adopted and making them the best pet that they can be for their future owners.
Biggest surprise, people will say like, oh, you should adopt that kitten. And it's like, well, if I adopted every kitten that I was like, I really want this one, then I would have no room to take in other foster kittens. So
I did get into fostering for the cute cuddly kittens and having the sweet moments with them, but there is a lot of keeping them healthy as well. And we are We have protocols in place to medicate when kitties are sick, and keeping tabs on their health and making sure that they're safe and healthy at all times.
My perception before fostering was that it would just be fun. My biggest surprise is how messy they are and how needy, how many things can go wrong, but it is still fun.
My perception before I began fostering that it was all going to be cuddling kittens, and that is still the best part of it, but it's also a lot of not just your heart, but your brain, and like, how are you going to schedule this? What protocols are you going to put into place? It really is an amazing program because we take the youngest and the sickest, and the necessity of the protocols is just so important. It's how we rescue the ones that need us the most.
The hardest part about being a foster is just seeing them struggle sometimes can be a difficult point, but once they pull through, it makes you feel so much better.
So the hardest part about being a foster initially is probably letting go of the kittens, but then the more you foster, the more joyous that becomes, because goodbye is the goal ultimately with fostering. It means that you've raised a healthy kitten that's ready to go to their forever home. The hardest part of fostering was I have lost a kitten in my care one time, and that is a tragic experience to go through. What I love about this organization is you have the support of the other fosters when you go through something tragic. And Brandy is amazing at her ability to say, what are we going to do differently with the rest of this litter to give them the best chance that they can have for survival. And so taking that experience of a loss and then turning into like, what can we do better moving forward? You know, is there anything we can do differently now, is really a beautiful gift, even though it is the hardest part of fostering.
I would agree that dealing with illness and maybe you get your kittens straight from the get-go and they're needing medication and you're just really having to keep a watchful eye on them. And then the reward from that is seeing them come out healthy on the other side and getting adopted out as a fluffy, healthy kitten, and no one would ever know that they had come in sickly.
My favorite part about being a foster is just the playtime like this, socializing kittens. This age is so much fun. They're so active.
My favorite part is, of course, the kittens. Cuddling the kittens and just knowing that you're making such a huge difference in the world by taking care of these little creatures and giving them the chance to move forward and have a fulfilling life, both for them and for the people that are adopting them, because we never know who needs them as much as they need their adopter.
My favorite part about being a foster is like being there, especially for the neediest ones, like with their ringworm or they have some other thing going on. Just being there and seeing them just grow from little tiny babies that are like 2-3 weeks old till they're actually eating food on their own. And I like that whole entire stage of seeing it, where they are now on their own for the most part and are eating on their own, and you don't have to be bottle feeding them anymore.
Favorite part of fostering is definitely interacting with cute, cuddly kittens and ultimately seeing them go spayed and neutered to a new home and not only make a difference to a family, but make a difference in a community, that there's no longer breeding taking place and unwanted kittens on the street, that they're in homes and they're healthy and taken care of.
If you're considering fostering, I would definitely say to foster with A-Hope. They're so supportive. You get, all the other fosters are great. Brandy's a great resource. You never feel like you have to do something on your own. There's always somebody to ask a question to 24/7, no matter what's going on.
See, fostering for A-Hope is so important because we take in a lot of the kittens that no one else really can or is able to, those who are needy and have special circumstances, and the protocols that are in place because of those special needs are just so detailed and so helpful, and you're just always in touch with their medical situation, what they've been given, and what we're treating and how we're treating it. And I believe that helps us to get the healthiest outcome in the end.
When it comes down to the adoption process, I mean, we're fairly hands-off. I mean, you might be talking to the adopter or potential adopters and just talking a little bit about their personality or something like that, but for the most part, we're hands-off on that part. So I'm able to focus completely on just the kittens and taking care of them and making sure I make a bio for them that looks cute or something like that makes it stand out. So I'm focused more on the kittens and trying to get them adopted, and then the actual process is to the experts doing that, and that they're regularly doing that each week. So
Fostering for A-Hope, the protocols are very thorough, and until you start fostering, you may not realize how important that is to be able to have such strong guidelines and to have the support where somebody is always accessible if you need help with your kitten. That's a crucial part of fostering for A-Hope, and part of the reason that I love fostering for A-Hope.